Back with our panel and back to the markets. Nasdaq's break above 5,000 for the first time in 15 years begs the question whether this record could go down as fast as the last one did. Take a look. Shortly after the Nasdaq hit a record 15 years ago, it began a slide which did not stop until the index lost more than half its value in less than a year. Bob, could that happen again?
Well, I'm not predicting that it will happen again, but could it happen again? It absolutely. There's a lot of downside risk in this market. Let me give you one simple fact. Median trailing price-to-earnings ratios are at an all-time high, meaning higher than they were in 2000, higher than they were before the last great crash. So there's a lot of downside risk in the market right now.
Cheryl, what do you think? Are we going to have a redo of what happened 15 years ago?
You know, I have to say, and I'm a journalist, not an expert here, but Bob, I have to respectfully disagree in that if you look at the breakdown of the Nasdaq itself, 10% of it is Apple, 5% of it is Microsoft. These are companies that are making money, making products they are selling. And I understand valuations is one thing, but the Nasdaq is not what it was back in 2002 when it hit just above 1,000. I mean, this is an index now that is full of healthcare and financial companies and consumer service companies. So I just don't think we're really in danger.
Even the internet companies in Nasdaq now have figured out a way to make money, unlike 15 years ago.
Right, and I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I think that we have to be realistic that some of the tech economy, yes, it has changed, but that a lot of the sort of big chip, companies like Apple make up a pretty small percentage of NASDAQ, so there's a lot of smaller companies. And the thing that worries me here in Washington is a lot of the economic policies that could impact those companies. We see the kind of policies, micromanaging of wages and the mandating of benefits. We were expecting changes in Obamacare this week.
Well, we don't want to go there. You're opening another kettle of fish, and I want to leave enough room for this next subject because it's near and dear to my heart. The price of colleges. After spending a fortune on their kids' college education, a lot of broke parents are wondering if it was all worth it, and new research indicating it is not. Sabrina, is an expensive education worth the cash you pay for it? Believe me, you pay a lot.
Yeah, I was just writing tuition checks this morning for my littlest one, so I'm wondering the same question. I mean, of course, I think all of us here realize that degrees are inflated. They are no longer worth what they were at one time. So, but I think the answer is yes or no. I think where we're going to see the difference is, do people choose to go to Harvard, or do they choose a really good state school that might be comparable and might not have that many differences?
Or, Bob, a really good but inexpensive private school. The Wall Street Journal put together a list of colleges, and you wouldn't think of these as the biggest ones. You'd think of Princeton, Harvard. But this is the return on investment. Brigham Young, this is for 4 years of education. Brigham Young charges $80,000. That's all in, by the way. Room, board, tuition. It's about $20,000 a year. Very low as far as private colleges go. Then Turo, Harvey Mudd College, the Wayland Baptist University, Caltech. Most of these people haven't heard of.
Right. And so, look, the important point is this. Most employers I know would rather hire a top kid from a small school or a big public school than a middle-of-the-pack kid from an Ivy League school. What's important is to go to a place you can afford and then excel when you get there, because if you do, you'll get a job offer, and if you don't, you won't.
And, Cheryl, as this study shows, sometimes the best place, the best return on investment is not the most expensive.
Northern Arizona University, a great school in Arizona that I went to, and look at me now. That's all I'm saying.
Here you are. Here you are. You made it. You have arrived. Talk about great return on investment. Thank you very much, folks. Sabrina Schaefer, Bob Rice, and Cheryl Cassotti. Don't forget, by the way, Sabrina and myself, you can catch on Forbes on Fox every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's on the Fox News channel. You do not want to miss it. Liz?
David, 5 victims of GM